through the first 2 weeks of last season, 250 yards on the ground, only 114 yards on the ground through the first 2 weeks of this season. So a huge discrepancy there when the Steelers finished last in the NFL in rushing. But what might be more importantly than this, Ike, we always talk about how the Steelers need to establish the ground game. I went back and did some research. The last time the Steelers ran the ball more than they passed it in a game, you've got to go back to October the 8th of 2020, week 6 of last season. And when the Steelers did that, they absolutely walloped the Cleveland Browns 38-7. It's been that long since they've run the ball more than they've passed it in a game. Big Ben in year 18. Why are they putting so much of the onus and pressure on him offensively? Let's commit to running the ball. And if it doesn't work after we run the ball 40, 45 times in a game, and you're still only getting 2 or 3 yards per carry, then I could say we have a problem. But if we haven't committed to it, and again, I go back to, week 6 of last season, to me, that was a telltale sign of some of the struggles this offense has had, because it's much, much too pass happy. And that's part of the reason why you bring in Matt Canada to replace Randy Fichtner as the offensive coordinator. It's something I would like to see change moving forward with this Steelers team.
See, I've been saying this for years. It don't matter who your offensive coordinator is. Ben is in his 18th season. He's going to trump every call if he wants to. I don't think – so I heard – so Tampa played Dallas. And it was a shootout when it came down to the throwing. And everybody was like, why they didn't run Zeke as much. And the offensive coordinator for the Dallas Cowboys said, I called 28 run plays. Dak checked out of 10 of them. Same thing with Big Ben. If you call 38 run plays and he checks out 12 of them, then it's going to be an issue. And that's what I've been saying for years. I don't care who the OC is. If Seven want to throw the ball, he's going to throw the ball. That's just what it is. Now, if you look at what the Green Bay Packers did against the Detroit Lions, they ran the ball. And the more they kept running the ball, instead of doing the cover 2, the Detroit Lions had to go down to a cover 3 now, or man coverage. Now that leaves your corners on the island. But you had to get to that point to leave your corners on the island by running the ball. And that's what I've been saying about the Pittsburgh Steelers. Seven has to, you know what? I'm going to the Hall of Fame. But I still remember this is how I went to Super Bowls and won Super Bowls. I do have a good Super Bowl defense. I truly do believe Pittsburgh has a good defense that can help them win a Super Bowl. But you have to mix in the running game. So when you have a Jerome Bettis, when you have a Willie Parker, when you have who else we had? A Deuce Staley. When you have guys like this who can run the ball and control the clock, that's what you want to do. You got a guy like a Najee who can control the clock. Even though you got a young O-line, what have I been saying about young offensive linemen? You let the guys get in the rhythm of run blocking. So your running back can get in the rhythm of running the ball. So, and that's what I said on our show Monday. I said the only thing I disliked was we started off like the first 3-4 plays passing the ball. Mm-hmm. How in the hell are we going to establish the ball? So, my personal opinion, Ben got to get his mindset or reset his mind into, hey, if Coach Matt Canada wants me to run the ball and establish a run game, this is what I'm going to have to do. If not, he's going to forever trouble.
And if the Steelers commit to running the ball, I'm just telling you this right now, Ike, watch what happens in terms of the scoreboard, in terms of controlling the clock. And why is that important? Why is that important?
The reason why running the ball is so important, one, you take the soul out of defense. 2, you control the clock. 3, it opens up the big plays that you're looking for in the play that you pass, because then you get a lot of one-on-ones and mismatches with the corners and the receivers that you have. That's what running the ball does. When you're getting the ball out 2.4 seconds, right now the fastest time in the league, basically as a corner, I'm going to sit on every route because I know the ball is coming out quick. So I'm not worrying about deep routes. The only time I'm worrying about deep routes if I see two backs in the backfield or if I see two tight ends on the field. That's how I know you're looking for the pass protection. But other than that, if you got 3-4 receivers out, I know the ball got to come out quick, because if I look at my game sheet and Coach LeBeau comes into the thing like Ben is getting the ball out 2.4 seconds, first thing I'm thinking is they're going 3 or 4 wide and they don't trust the offensive line right now. That's how you look at it from a defensive standpoint.
And I can't help but think that there's a correlation in losing the time of possession in the first 2 weeks of the season. And you see injuries all along the defense. I'm talking about TJ Watt and his groin injury, whether that has any impact beyond week 2. I'm talking about Alex Highsmith as a groin injury. Joe Hayden and Devin Bush didn't play against the Raiders. They also have groin injuries. Tyson Alualu is out for the season with a fractured ankle. He had surgery on Monday. I can't help but think that you have some of those defensive injuries because you're keeping the defense out on the field longer because you're not controlling time of possession. So again, I know it's only a 2-game sample size, and right now I'm not going to say it's a causation. I'll say it's a correlation. But if this is going to continue to be a theme, and you could say, well, the Steelers struggle with running the football. How about getting closer to that 50-50 split between running and passing? Or how about running the ball more than passing it in a game, even if early on in the first and second quarters, I know it's hot out and it's easier for defenses to tackle than it would be later in the season when it gets cold out. But how about saying, okay, if you run the ball 40 times in a game, are you still struggling to control the line of scrimmage? Because defenses wear down when they're out on the field longer in the third and fourth quarters. And again, week 6 of last season, I'm going to keep banging this drum, Mike, because I did the research on it. October 8th, 2020 is the last time the Steelers ran the ball more in a game, more than they passed it. And Big Ben's in year 18. It's not like he's a spring chicken anymore, Ike. It's not like he's in the prime of his career and he can completely dissect a defense, because we have not seen that through the first 2 weeks of the season. This offense has to get better if this team wants to have any kind of success this season, because like you said it, Steelers have a pretty good defense.
As the Baltimore Ravens, if they like Lamar Jackson, because they lead the league in rushing pretty much every year. As the Cleveland Browns defense, if they like Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, because they're probably top 3 in rushing every year. As the Tennessee Titans, because their defense is so-so, if they like King Henry getting the ball in the second game and they wind up winning that game in Seattle last week. So that's what I'm saying. And you can even ask in the playoffs. In the playoffs, as Tampa Bay and their defense, if they like playoff P, Leonard Fournette getting the ball hand off to him. And if you want to talk about the Super Bowl that the Kansas City Chiefs won, ask the defense if they like they running game in that Super Bowl. And that's just been the recipe. When you have a good running game, man, your defense also it loves it, but it gives us a breather, and it takes the soul out of other teams because we feel the same way. If a team that runs on us and is having success on us, man, that's not a good feeling. You know what I'm saying? And when I was playing, it was Jamal Lewis, it was Corey Dillon. Who else we had? Jamal Lewis, Corey Dillon,
Sean Alexander in the Super Bowl.
Anderson coming from Denver. Who else we played? Basically, in that playoff, when we won the Super Bowl in 2005, we played the top 5 offenses. Edgerrin James with the Colts. So it was Edgerrin James.
Hall of Famer Edgerrin James, too, I might add.
Corey Dillon was a grown man. I mean, Corey Dillon, when Corey Dillon saw a DB or a corner, he said, "Come here, boy," while he was running, because he already knew what he was going to do to you. You know what I'm saying? So you had a Jamal Lewis and his prime coming from Tennessee. You know about Jamal Lewis. Man, we had Rudy Johnson coming from Auburn and Cincinnati. So, man, we played, Sean Alexander from Alabama. So we played nothing but dogs when it came down to the playoffs. But the reason why I'm saying this, everybody had a run game. I'm naming the top 5 offenses at the time in 2005. But you got a Hall of Fame, Edgerrin James. You got a dog of Sean Alexander. You already know what Jamal Lewis was doing with the Ravens. Then you got Rudy Johnson, who was a stud, and Corey Dillon at the same time for the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, all 4 of them And the Denver Broncos had Jake Plum and Jake the Snake. We used to call him Jake the Snake, and that zone running scheme. So we played against the top 5 offenses, and all top 5 guys had a running back or a running game. And that's what Pittsburgh, like I'm reading on this screen right now, coming from Miss Courtney, you got to commit to the run game. That's what you have to